All right, folks, joining us now to discuss infladating. I'm teasing. Just joining us now to discuss possibilities for improving and increasing Jamaica's export production is the Honourable Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubyn Hill. Morning, sir. Welcome to Smile.
How nice to see you again. And clearly, Dale is not a fan of infladating.
No, she's definitely not, sir. She's afraid of the mosquito.
And she's warning you about going to church to find women.
How are you, sir?
Very well this morning.
We've last time you were here, we had a bit of a chat about this also, why we're not exporting enough and stuff. It's interesting. I was reading coming from the president of the JMA, Mr. John Mahfood, and he says, and I want to ask you about this. He says a lot of work needs to be done if, as a country, we are to increase export output or even get close to the heydays when manufacturing contributed some 18% of GDP. I don't know if you agree with that, but how do we get close to that?
Mr. Mahfood is onto a good thing there, and he's in the manufacturing business. He manufactures packages, teas, and so on, and exports it. He's a big exporter. He's built his business on exports, so he knows what he's talking about in that respect. There has to be significant more investment in what we do. But you know, I always say, France didn't create water to export it. It made a green bottle, put Perrier on it, charge you 5 times the amount or how many times more the amount of water, and it was water. Then when that went so well, they got Evian. So you don't have to create, but you're going to have to invest. Everywhere I go in the United States, and I've been all over the United States now, going back to France and Britain and US in a few weeks' time, taking business people with me to say, look, we have things to sell, and every time they want acres, they want containers of ackee, they want callaloo, they want Scotch bonnet. We have markets, so we have to breadfruit flour. They don't want wheat flour anymore because it has gluten. Breadfruit and dasheen don't have, and so we need to grow these things. And the reason I'm dressed like this today, apart from that branding is wonderful, is that we're launching the MSMEs roadshow. We're taking it to 4 parts of Jamaica initially. We're collaborating with the IDB. They put in $250,000 US dollars. We have sponsors, DBJ, Sagicor, and Lasco and so on, to make sure that they're there with us. And we're meeting in Mandeville hundreds of SME practitioners, people who do make business, small businesses, not the big ones. The big ones have lawyers and accountants. They know where to find us. We're taking the show to them because nobody takes it to them. Nobody tells them. If you think how many times we have not talked about export for years. We have 61 years of negative trade balance. That means we have a huge mountain to climb. We have to take the show to them. So we're starting today in Mandeville.
So I'm hearing 2 things. I'm hearing the existing goods and services that we export. We have to increase that output, but also we have to find new products that we export as well.
We have to find new products. And you have to remember, when Singapore wanted to do exports, it doesn't make planes, it doesn't make fuselage, it doesn't make plane engines. It says we're going to look at the cone of the plane that takes most people around the world at the time, the 747, and now 10 years after they started, that was about 25 years ago, all the 747 jets have to go to Singapore to get the avionics in their cone fixed. So we can decide, is it cybersecurity? What is it that we're going to do? Is it we're going to really seriously look at breadfruit flour, grow breadfruit, agro-processing it? That means we have to have security for it. And we have all the testing arrangements here with an agency called Jamaica National Accreditation that can certify labs to test, so that when you go to the United States, you don't have to worry about the FDA. They're FDA accredited to accredit.
Okay.
Wow.
I want to quote Mr. Mahfood again. If a foreign manufacturer is looking for somewhere to set up a plant, they wouldn't put it in Jamaica. They would maybe do so in Trinidad, as the cost of energy there is much lower. With higher costs for energy, local manufacturers now have to become concerned with investing in solar facilities.
It is an important consideration. that energy is costly in Jamaica. We need to do a lot more renewable and cheaper costs. But you know something? Some of the biggest exporting countries in the world don't have low energy costs. If you think of what's happening in Europe and the Scandinavian countries, some of them have cheap energy because they have hydroelectricity, but some of them have very expensive energy. We need to become, though, much more efficient at what we do. We have to increase our productivity, and that means train our people differently, get markets, and when you have good markets that you're supplying to, you can produce for them, and then that efficiency, that scale, reduces your costs. So we do have to look at our cost of energy, and that's something, as a member of the cabinet, I have been constantly interested in since before I came to government. And he's right about the energy costs. We have to find a way to reduce that. But you cannot stop living. Other countries have expensive energy, and we must train our people better. And that's where I want to see the businesses come in. Government is spending a ton load of money, $150 billion in education. Okay? It's the biggest operating budget Minister of Finance has, more because they pay the debts. Mm-hmm. But businesses, and I come from the business community, businesses must step up to train their people a lot more than they have up to now. And because people are tight, we don't have as many people anymore. You have to train more to hold them, and you have to train more to increase their productivity.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Brand Jamaica is huge as far as agro-processing is concerned. So, I mean, you go into Sainsbury's and a lot of the outlets in the UK, and you're going to see Jamaican stuff. Some of them, when you look at the bottom, Jamaican, made in China.
It may be the can.
Yeah, I hope so. So is agro-processing an area that we really can just lead from?
So glad you asked that. All the mangoes that we have every year between, let's say, May and early July, so many of it spoil in the street. Yep. For years, we have not looked at processing those mangoes in July, so that in December, January, when the tourists come and need it, and most juices except orange have mango in there somewhere, we have that to go. But you look at the other part of the business, you look at southern Jamaica, from St. Catherine to Negril, how many cold storage stores you have? I don't think you can count two on your fingers. So we need to invest in that cold storage and agro-processing part of the business to make sure our agriculture is doing. And I'm doing this, and I'm doing these roadshows because we've now controlled our debt to a large extent. We have 60 years of negative trade balance. Yeah. That's something we're going to have to control. We're not going to change it in 2-3 years, but we're starting, and we're going to carry it because we have to change that to become a rich country. We can't get rich selling to 3 million relatively poor people.
I need a quick response for this one. I will quote Mr. Mahfoud finally. He said, well, he's suggesting that we should look more in the Caribbean or CARICOM. And he says, if we're not taking advantage of the CARICOM markets open to us, I therefore don't expect to see us breaking down the door to ship to the Dominican Republic, Panama, and Costa Rica, to name a few.
He's done that well. We have to look at the Caribbean. We are looking at the Caribbean. I've taken trade missions to Guyana twice, Trinidad, Domrep. We have to look at the Caribbean, get used to what you're used to. But yes, we have diaspora, big diaspora with much money in large cities in the United States and England and Canada. We have to look at those too.
Good to see you, sir. God bless you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Honorable Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubyn Hill.
All right. Stick around. We'll be discussing Negril's potential as a designated entertainment zone. That's going to happen in a moment. We'll soon come.